me, your host, Brenda Warren, the Soulutionist, and I am with my friend, Miss Sharon Holand Gelfand, CN, and her book, Gut, The Gut Method, is officially out, and I have my copy. And you see all these little yellow tags because these are the things I tag. So that today, when Sharon and I have our conversation, because she's going to talk to me, I can tell you all the fun things that I found in her book. Sharon, welcome to the show. Talk to me. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Brenda, for having me. As always, I love talking to you.
So I know people are going to be like, she always talking to Sharon. Why is that? Because Sharon got something to say. See, the good part about being on Talk to Me is that we can talk about whatever we want for as long as we want. But we're not going to stay here all day because people got stuff to do. However, today I did want you to come on because, like I said, I have my hard copy of your book now. We're not talking about it. It's not the abstract anymore. This is an official book, you guys, that you can purchase. Look, I need to get my nails done. This is an official book you can purchase now on Amazon. And is it anywhere else, Sharon?
Right now, it's just on Amazon.
Okay, so on Amazon. And this is a book you'll want to purchase if you are serious about your health, not just your gut health, but your health. Because I read through there, there's a lot of good nuggets in the book. But before we go any further, because I'll talk all day about you and the gut method and everything, tell us a little bit about your background for those people that don't know who you are.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to be here because we always have fun chatting. And my background, I'm first generation American, and I was raised to just always follow the lines, don't color outside the lines. And I had a checklist for my life. And got married. I had kids. I was a banker. I was in banking and finance. I was a commercial lender. To me, healthy was a bran muffin and a cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, Bran, it's got to be healthy. And I have 3 young adults now. And when about 12 years ago, when one of my kids was diagnosed with Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, and ileitis, it led me down the rabbit hole of what is this? What is going on? Because I knew nothing about health and nutrition. And I just remember at the doctor's appointment asking the doctor, what about food? And the doctor said, don't worry about food. The medicine will take care of it. And, a mother's intuition, or just like any parent's intuition of like, something doesn't feel right, but I'm going to trust the expert. And don't get me wrong, doctors save lives, right? They're wonderful. But that was the first So we went home, and within about a week, my son got worse from the medicine, but I didn't know it yet. And he started complaining, and he told me that it was the medicine. The doctor told me it was the disease. And I'm sitting there like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, who do I listen to? And and my son was yelling at me, why aren't you listening to me? Right. And just like, it woke me up. I was like, why aren't I listening to him? Because he's a kid, but he was listening to his body. 5 hours later, down the rabbit hole of Dr. Google, and I turned to my sister, who is a doctor, and I said, I have to go to grad school. I need to get a master's in nutrition. I really just wanted to help Zach. I just wanted to help my son because I just was so confused and couldn't understand why this was happening. P.S., we ended up taking him off the medicine because he was right. It was. We ended up switching doctors eventually, put him on the medicine that was right for his body. But when you were saying how this is more than just the gut, being in grad school, then getting certified as a functional nutritionist, and it made me realize that it's so much deeper, right? It's not just food, it's how our thoughts, it's emotionally, physically, spiritually, and blessing in disguise, because my son helped me find, or I should say this career found me, because I realized I had been compartmentalizing my own health issues. And it just became this journey and this new way of being that made me realize, like, I've got to share this with the world.
And Sharon, before we go any further into the gut method, I want to make a note here and say there are oftentimes women have found their careers or their true calling because of their desire to help their children. I think about Mothers Against Drunk Drivers was founded by a woman, unfortunately, due to an unfortunate tragedy. You have other different organizations that have been birthed because of a mother's desire to help their child, and then it propels the mother into a new career. It helps the child, hopefully, if it's not a total tragedy, get healthy. I can remember a situation when my child was, I think, 4 years old. They can't speak for themselves. We have to be our kids' advocates.
Yes.
And Alex was sick, and I knew something was wrong. Took him to the hospital, and the doctor told me I was an overactive young mother, and I didn't know what was going on. But I know my child, and Alex has a very high tolerance for pain. So if that child said they were hurting, there was something wrong. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was something wrong. So I took my child back home, and literally listening to the doctor's medication, my child suffered for like 7 days, losing weight. I mean,
Wow.
it was terrible, and I felt so helpless. And all of a sudden, the it took me a little bit to go, okay, wait a minute. And like you, I went to Google all the symptoms, and it said salmonella. So I took my baby back to the hospital, and I told the doctor, I need my kid tested for salmonella. Oh, now you're a doctor? I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but you need to test my kid. And again, they said it's just a flu or stomach virus. I'm like, no, my kid has salmonella. And so the doctors did not want to test them. And I said, look, I threw a complete fit where they had to call security. And the doctor said, I bet my paycheck. And I said, bet, test my kid. I want to have a fecal samples, how you test for salmonella.
Mm-hmm.
They tested the baby and still sent me home. And I went home with this sick child coming from both ends. We weren't even our foot back in the door when they said, get this child back to the emergency. My baby could have died because of that stupid doctor, had a really bad case of salmonella. They treat them everything. I never got the paycheck, mind you. However, what it did teach me was that when it comes to my child, nobody knows my baby better than me. And I never from that point on let another doctor tell me and just give me the brush off of the okey doke when I knew something was wrong. And then another case in point was an ear infection. Alex had double ear infections. Again, they told me I was overreacting. I
Wow.
know because they said if he had a double ear infection, he'd be wincing in pain. And Dante has a high tolerance for pain. But I knew he kept cocking his little head to the side. And they went on and did the test. And sure enough, Alex had double ear infections. Never.
Wow.
And this was a little baby. It was the first time I knew he had a high tolerance for pain. So I say all that to say that I'm excited that you didn't just, listen to the doctor. And because you didn't listen to that, not only did you help your son and help so many other people, you've helped me by what you've done, even before your book came out, and all the people that you're going to continue to help because the path you chose. Now, back to the book. What I love about your book is, first of all, it is so easy to read. It was a good read. It wasn't like, you think nutritional book, this is going to be boring. But it actually had a lot of good stories in there. I really liked the way it was written. And I have these little tabs. I'm going to go just over a couple of things before we talk about
Okay.
good health.
Sure.
I love the writing exercises because there were opportunities for me to read what you said and then, like you say, digest and discover. So that was awesome. There's a part in here you talk about success, which is why I say it's not just about the gut itself and how you have this illustration of success, and you'll have to get the book to see what it is. However, it was so clear, and I had never thought about it that way. That was awesome. Um, where does it all go? And inside primer, love that chapter. That was pretty interesting. And then I got to the part where you're talking about sleep. I would have never thought about sleep and my gut, but once I read the chapter, it made perfect sense. I'm flipping pages, I get it. And then there was the part where you gave confessions and different things in here. So all throughout the book, it was engaging. It made me want to read more. And the best part of all is as I read, I learned things and was able to put practical steps into place to help improve my own gut health. So with all that said,
Well, it's that's part that what it's in a nutshell. I can't speak anymore. What you've said in a nutshell is the reason why I wrote the book, because We don't understand the why, and we're just told what to do. And we're so disconnected from ourselves. So getting back in touch, the gut, get connected, understand, take action, can only be done with those writing exercises, because nobody can figure it out for you. You have to figure it out yourself. And it's so funny because there's so many times, like I send out a weekly newsletter email to my list, and I'm very transparent about my life. I don't live in the woods. I don't eat bamboo shoots and leaves. I enjoy life, but I also know sometimes I'll make a mistake, and I own it. And when I share it with my audience, I'll get emails like, "Oh my God, thank you for being so real. I'm glad that you're, not just like one of those nutritionists that just, says what you can't do, but shows you how to incorporate into your lifestyle, because diets suck and they don't work."
That word diet does not make me excited to do it.
Yes,
It
exactly.
really did not. But one of the things that I like too was, like you said, because the last time we talked, I put myself on blast about my diet, Pepsis and the bread and stuff. And one of the things I did was, once I got the book, which I got right after our last um, is that I just kind of paid attention to how I felt when I didn't eat those things for a few days. So I took 3 days and eliminated the bread. I just didn't have any bread at all. And I waited about a week, and then I had a piece. And oh my goodness, I felt the difference in my body. I felt the inflammation. I could feel what it was doing to me, and I realized that for me, although I love bread, bread does not love me.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't love a lot of people, unfortunately, at all. But interestingly, about bread, well, I have a video actually about sourdough bread. How if you're going to eat bread, that's the healthiest kind, but needs to be made properly. So don't just go buy a packaged one in the supermarket. But what's interesting about bread is that, and our gut is that, and I think you and I talked about this also, about how people will do these detoxes and then they think they're fine. But, it's been years that our gut and our liver has been clogged and congested, and we want the quick fix, but it takes time. And if you do it properly, and when I mean properly, it's like for those people who are ready to do specific types of at-home testing, then they can truly see what's going on. Eventually, if you do take care of your body properly, you will be able to enjoy a piece of bread every now and then, right? The sourdough or anything else. It's just getting to the root of all of it.
Well, as you uh, go through the gut health here, now we have the gut method. Do you have a program that someone that can go to that is bound by this book or separate from the book?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question also. So if you actually go to thegutmethod.com, I have a complimentary 3-part video series that just helps you to read labels. I talk about the mindset. I talk about the vagus nerve, which I don't talk about in my book, and its importance. And then from there, I do have, I'm actually starting a program January 18th. It's a 3-month live intuitive eating program that complements my book, so that you can tune in with live weekly classes and calls and lots of information on how to tap into your inner being and really heal and understand what you need. So, people can go to theintuitiveeater.com for that. But certainly if you just even go to, oh my God, I have to stop with all these different websites. Go to sharonholland.com. You'll see the gut method. You can click there. That'll take you to everything else.
Now, with the new year coming, what advice would you give people as, because resolution, I don't do resolution, but I do
Yeah,
have
there.
intentions. I do have an intention to eat healthier in the coming year. What kind of advice would you give someone that is struggling right now with their gut health and the new year's coming and they're saying, I'm going to make this resolution? What would you suggest?
That's such a great question. The one thing that I would totally recommend is just pick one thing to get started. The problem with these resolutions is that we make it too big, and then we set ourselves up for failure. So if you need to get connected, understand, take action, pick one item with food. So if you're going to say, let me start planning my week, let me start drinking more water, and I have a whole bunch of ideas in my book, pick one thing, take it and build on it and journal it and keep track of it. Don't give yourself a timeline. Be present with it. Don't make it, okay, in 3 months it's going to be XYZ. Just take it one day at a time with one item at a time.
That's good. Sharon, I know that your son's an adult now. And with all of this, as you've gone through this evolution with him, what would you say that you feel like benefited you the most in all the things that happened? Because I recently heard Tony Robbins say that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So, with that in mind, how would you say this whole process has affected you and your son?
Oh, another great question. I love you, Brenda. No, because these are important questions. So, when I first got started, and as many people do, we think it's diet. We think, when I say diet, it's food, right? We think if we just change what we're eating. But I'll tell you a quick story. It's not a quick story, but I'll summarize it. When my son was in college, he's 25 now. So when he went to college when he was 18, he was doing great in high school and taking care of himself because he was home and his environment was protected and it was planned. But when you go to college, you're on your own. And a lot of things happened that unfortunately, a couple of suicides and a few things, and that affected him mentally and emotionally. And that was my first aha or epiphany of how that a mental emotional side plays such a huge role in gut health. And that was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 8 years ago almost. And that then expanded, right? Things happen for you for a reason. That expanded my learning and understanding of the brain gut even more so. So for all of us to realize food is just one small slice, that you really do need to look at mental health and its connection to the gut, because you can't do them one or the other. It has to be collectively. And that's been a huge gift for both of us and for his siblings and for all of us.
Now, I've read, like I said, I got the book, I read it. And my question also is, I got through here and I thought, are you going to do any cookbooks?
Well, Robin Myers. She and I have a lunch show on YouTube called Lunch and Life, and she loves to cook. And we're going to start doing some of that. So yes, there will be collaboration, because we are greater when we work together, as you and I see. And we're going to be creating something because yes, it does come hand in hand with this. So to be continued.
Okay. So I hope that when you get your cookbook out, you'll come back to talk to me, and we'll get that book reviewed as well. Finally, I'd like to ask you if there was one thing from the book you wanted someone to take, what would that be?
Be kind to yourself and self-compassion. Don't beat yourself up. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first, because you need to take care of you before you can take care of others, because you're no good dead, right?
No.
And that's what they say when on an airplane, if there's a change in air pressure, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. It's self-preservation. You're honoring yourself. Be kind to you. It's a journey, and it's going to unfold as you take care of yourself.
Well, Sharon, once again, I thank you for joining me on Talk to Me. And I look forward to the next time we get to have a conversation all about gut health or whatever else you want to talk about.
Thank you so much for having me, Brenda. I love being on your show, talking to you, and you're just an awesome host and a wonderful human being. So thank you.
Thank you. Hey, everyone, have a great day. And don't forget to go to Amazon.com and get Sharon's book, The Gut Method. Your tummy will thank you for it.